every fight to make next in the UFC lightweight division, top 15. We're going to go from top to bottom for Charles Oliveira all the way down to Brad Rydell. All of the fighters in the top 15 of the lightweight division. There's a lot of them, and there's a few of them that do not have fights at the moment. So the first one we're going to look at is going to be at number 15 in Brad Rydell, coming off a loss recently to Rafael Fiziev by knockout. Arman Tsarukyan already has a fight. Dan Hooker could be a good one. I think that one is a very likely matchup for Brad Rydell. Mateusz Gamrot already has a fight. Brad Rydell, Dan Hooker is is looking pretty good in my opinion. Drew Dober, I believe that one already happened. Drew Dober versus Brad Rydell. These guys are all coming off of losses. Grant Dawson, I don't think he deserves a top 15 one just yet. Damir Ismagulov could be a good one. That could honestly be very, very good. But it's tough. It's one of those two. It's going to be either the winner of Damir Ismagulov, Guram Kutateladze, or it's going to be Dan Hooker. So it's very tough. Brad Rydell, Dan Hooker, I think they might be teammates or something like that. So we're not going to do anything with that one. We're going to do Brad Rydell versus the winner of Damir Ismagulov and Guram Kutateladze. I think that'd be an amazing fight to be made in the lightweight division. So Brad Rydell versus Damir Ismagulov versus, it's either going to be Damir Ismagulov or Guram Kutateladze. Guram Kutateladze winner. That'd be the first one in the lightweight division right there. I don't know why it didn't type. Guram Kutateladze. If I'm spelling that one correctly. I'm probably spelling a lot of these ones wrong, but it doesn't really matter. There might be two L's there. Next one is going to be also in the lightweight division. It's going to be Mateusz Gamrot. He already has a fight. It is going to happen in a few weeks' time, and it's going to be a very, very good one because Mateusz is doing amazing in the UFC, going out there getting a submission win in his UFC debut over Jeremy Stephens, then the TKO win over Diego Ferreira. Now he's fighting Arman Tsarukyan. That is a very, very good fight, so we don't really need to talk about that one. Dan Hooker, that's the one I'm having a lot of trouble in for this lightweight division. Who in the world does Dan Hooker fight next? I really don't know, because right now I think Brad Rydell, Damir Ismagulov, or Guram Kutateladze is a very good one. But right now, Dan Hooker does not deserve a step up in the lightweight division. He's not going to fight one of these killers in Mateusz Gamrot, Arman Tsarukyan, Rafael Fiziev, any of those guys, and he's not going to get a top 10 guy anytime soon. So honestly, he's probably going to get a guy outside of the top 15, and I don't know who's going to be. I really do not know. Ilia Topuria, he's kind of bouncing between the lightweight and the featherweight division. Not going to go that low. This is the hardest one to make, in my opinion, is going to be for Dan Hooker. I mean, you could say maybe the winner of Bobby Green and Jim Miller, but I don't think that'd be a good fight. You could say if Drakkar Klose can go out there and beat Diego Ferreira, that could definitely be a good one. Grant Dawson's on here. Drew Dober's on here. I don't know, dude. It's a tough fight when you have Dan Hooker at number 13 in the lightweight division ranking. So I'm going to say Drakkar Klose. I'm going to say Drakkar Klose taking him on in this lightweight division. His only recent loss is to Beneil Dariush, a top 5, I believe, UFC lightweight fighter. And Drakkar has already beaten Bobby Green, Lando Venata, Christos Giagos, Brandon Jenkins, and if he can beat Diego Ferreira, who was the number 15 guy in the lightweight division, if you can beat him, I think that'd be a good fight. Dan Hooker and Drakkar Klose right there. Dan Hooker versus Drakkar Klose if he beats Diego Ferreira. That is an if. I don't know for sure if he's going to go out there and be able to beat Diego Ferreira, but if he can, I think that would be a good fight there. After that one, we already have Arman Tsarukyan versus Mateusz Gamrot. Rafael Fiziev, we already have him versus Rafael dos Anjos. Tony Ferguson. This is tough. Tony Ferguson is a guy that's on a very bad losing streak, getting TKO by Gishi as well as Michael Chandler, losing decisions to Charles Oliveira as well as Beneil Dariush. Tough. He's not going to get a fight up in the rankings. He's not going to go for anyone in the top 10. Not even a Conor McGregor. I don't think that's going to happen either. He's not going to fight Rafael Fiziev. It might have to be... he could get a fight in the top 10 if one of those guys loses. Like, I don't know. It's so tough, man. Who in the world does Ferguson fight next? Someone help me down here. You're saying Hooker versus Ferguson? Does Hooker deserve a step up in the rankings, though? After the losing streak that Dan Hooker is on right now, does he deserve to go back up in the rankings and fight Tony Ferguson at this point? It's a good fight. Don't get me wrong. A Dan Hooker versus Tony Ferguson fight is a very, very good fight to make. It'd be a banger. It'd be a very good striking fight. But Hooker doesn't deserve that step up in competition after losing in the featherweight division to Arnold Allen. It's so tough, man. I don't know who he's going to lose, man. Who he's going to fight next. Who in the world does Tony Ferguson fight? Does he go up to the welterweight division and fight Nate Diaz? Does he go up to welterweight, fight Jorge? Does he go up to welterweight and fight Hamza? I mean, I'm just throwing bullets out here. Who in the world does Tony Ferguson fight next? I don't know, man. I really don't know. Hooker versus Ferguson. You guys are all saying Hooker versus Ferguson. We're going to switch it. We're going to switch it there. I originally had Dan Hooker versus Draker close if he beats Diego Ferreira. But you're right. A fight with Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson is a banger. It is a banger of a fight. So we're going to do Dan Hooker versus Tony Ferguson. That's a banger of a fight. I'm going to switch it to that one right there. You guys are right. I am going to say Tony Ferguson versus Dan Hooker. That leaves us with Conor McGregor, Gregor Gillespie, Beneil Dariush, Islam Makhachev, Michael Chandler, Justin Gishi, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira. Got a lot of guys to go through. So Conor McGregor, fight to make next, for sure, Michael Chandler. He's not going to go up and fight Kamaru Usman. He's not going to do the Nate Diaz rematch just yet. He's not going to fight a Hamza Chimaev. He's not going to get a Dustin Poirier, an Oliveira, or anything like that. Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor. That is the fight to make next, in my opinion. Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler in this the lightweight division. After that one, it gets interesting. We got Gregor Gillespie. Now again, who in the world does Gregor Gillespie fight next? Because Gregor Gillespie, as of right now, is super inactive. He lost to Kevin Lee, and then he beat Diego Ferreira. The same guy that got beat in his last fight by Matthews Gamrot. So, I mean, it's not a hard thing to beat Diego Ferreira, and they both beat him the same way, by TKO later on in the fight. So, it's tough. It's very, very, very tough to say who Gregor is going to fight next. I don't know. Does he want to fight a guy lower in the rankings? Probably not. He probably doesn't want one of these up-and-coming prospects or anything like that. You might have to give him the loser of Islam versus Beneil if that's what they're going to do next. But I don't know. That's a tough one. Who do you guys think that Gregor should fight next? Arman Tsarukyan versus Gregor. That's a good fight. Ferguson versus RDA 2. Gregor Gillespie versus winner of Tsarukyan versus Gamrot. I am liking that. I know Gregor's not going to be too fond of that idea moving down in the rankings, but what choice does he have? He's been out of the fight game for a very, very long time. His last win was over an unranked UFC lightweight Diego Ferreira. So yeah, I think right now he's at number 8. Gamrot to Tsarukyan, number 12, number 14. If they win, they'll probably be around that number 11 spot. Co-main event of a UFC fight night, possibly a main event of a UFC fight night. I would say Arman Tsarukyan, Matthews Gamrot, winner versus Gregor Gillespie. I do agree with that one. Gregor Gillespie versus winner of Arman Tsarukyan versus Mateusz Gamrot. That'd be a very, very good wrestling and grappling fight. After that one, RDA already has his one with Rafael Vaziev. Beneil Dariush. Now, he's currently suffering from some sort of injury in his leg, but I still think a fight with Islam makes sense. I mean, I know a lot of you guys are going to be wanting a Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev fight already. They got to make that fight. That's what a lot of you guys are thinking, and I know that's what the UFC is thinking as well. But I know Beneil Dariush is going to be pushing for the fight. They were supposed to have that fight earlier on this year in 2022. Instead, Islam went out there and TKO Bobby Green. Does a win over Bobby Green, a win over Dane Hooker, Thiago Moises, Drew Dober, Davey Ramos, very good win streak, beating a lot of guys, Arman Tsarukyan. Does that deserve a title shot just yet? I don't think so. I think Islam would definitely do very good in a fight with Charles Oliveira, but I mean, Beneil Dariush is right there. You gotta give Beneil his shot to at least have this number 1 contender matchup with Islam Makhachev. So Islam versus Beneil Dariush. Islam Makhachev versus Beneil Dariush. That would be the fight to make next. After that one, we're gonna go on to Justin Gaethje. Now, clear, obvious choice, Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier. I'm just gonna write that one down because it is very, very obvious. Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje in the UFC lightweight division. That is a banger of a rematch there in the lightweight division. And then the one after that, the winner of Islam Makhachev versus Beneil Dariush versus Charles Oliveira. That's the last one to make. Charles Oliveira versus a winner of, let's just copy and paste it to make it go a little bit faster. It's going to be Charles Oliveira versus the winner of Islam Makhachev and Beneil Dariush. So those are the fights I think should happen next in the UFC lightweight division. Brad Rydell versus Damir Ismagulov. I know I spelled a lot of this stuff wrong. Damir Ismagulov or Guram Kutitaladze. Dan Hooker versus Tony Ferguson. Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. Gregor Gillespie versus the winner of Arman Tsarukyan and Matthews Gamrot. Islam Makhachev versus Beneil Dariush. Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje, and Oliveira versus the winner of Islam Makhachev and Beneil Dariush. The fights that have already been announced: Rafael dos Anjos versus Rafael Fiziev, Arman Tsarukyan versus Matthews Gamrot, and then a few fights outside of the top 15: Dober versus Alves, Miller versus Green, and Closey versus Diego Ferreira. Put your thoughts down below on these fights. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Put your thoughts on fights to make next in the UFC lightweight division down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Let's go.